Good evening, you're watching To The Point. I'm Preeti Chaudhary. Let's go back about, say, 4 or 5 years. Kangana Ranaut emerged in the scenes of Bollywood as somebody who had her own voice, who was sharp, who did not mince any words, who said it for what it was. Many would suggest at that time that the alpha woman in Bollywood found her voice in Kangana Ranaut. Well, many years passed, and today it seems Kangana Ranaut has broken the feminist mode by attacking women from her own ilk and with highly derogatory language, below the belt comments. Is that feminism? Many would ask. So is Kangana Ranaut a feminist or really a sexist? Which one is it? Feminism, respecting diverse women's experiences, identities, knowledge and strengths, and striving to empower all women to realize their full rights. Sexism, prejudice, stereotyping, or discrimination typically against women on the basis of sex. So which one is Kangana Ranaut, a feminist or a sexist? On Twitter, she has openly declared that she has taught Bollywood feminism. She has said her movies from Queen to Manikarnika have celebrated feminism consistently. However, the same actor today is being accused of being sexist. Of her, in the most derogatory language, repeatedly attacking women from her own field. Calling Taapsee Pannu a B-grade actress. Rhea Chakraborty a small-time druggie. Sonam Kapoor a mafia bimbo. Attacking Jaya Bachchan with "What if your daughter was molested?" And then calling Urmila Matondkar a soft porn star. Urmila Matondkar, on her part, while criticizing Kangana on other counts, had this to say about her work.
I think Kangana is a lovely actor. She has made a mark for herself. She has done some beautiful work in the past and she still is doing. And I hope she continues to do it.
Not just a below-the-belt attack on her women peers. Her latest tweet on using the rape analogy for her office being torn down by the BMC, where she compared the bulldozing of her office to being raped. That has invoked the strongest reactions from feminists in India on her trivializing rape, downplaying the heinous crime and the ordeal of actual rape survivors. So the reason we're having this debate is that well-informed women of privilege who represent a lot of women who are voiceless today need to call out if there is charade in the name of feminism. Well, let's connect right now. I have Ananya Shetty, she's an actor. I have Talish Ray, advocate. I have Srimoyu Kundu, columnist. Srimoyu, let me begin with you. Let's just go back with what we started this debate with. 4 years ago, somebody like Kangana was seen as somebody who had her own voice, who did not mince words, possibly a feminist in an industry where very few women actually talked. How do you see her today?
Preeti, I'm Srimoyi. That's the pronunciation of my name. Well, you know, it's very, very disappointing and disheartening to see Kangana take this kind of a stand against, you know, an actor of yesteryears who was quite the role model for a lot of us growing up in the 90s, when we thought of Urmila as being quite a trailblazer and, you know, the epitome of a modern, emancipated, free-spirited woman, you know, this on a similar line as Kangana is. And today I feel that, you know, we are wearing these t-shirts, half of Bollywood, the women are putting up Instagram posters saying, you know, smash the patriarchy, hashtag roses are red, violets are blue. But if we are going to draw daggers against one another, and particularly what does she mean by saying that she's a soft porn star? Are we actually looking at women who, you know, who are in the sex trade profession? Are we looking at sex workers then in a very derogatory light? You know, just the way men have used them and looked at them for centuries? So, you know, this sexual slant of her comments, you know, calling somebody, you know, a soft porn star, calling somebody, you know, a druggie, who is Kangana Ranaut? Is she suddenly the voice of, this Bollywood kind of, she has constantly been talking about Karan Johar, nepotism. She went out against, Hrithik Roshan and revealed the intimate details of their relationship, saying that he took advantage of me. Even went to the extent of dragging in his father, Rakesh Roshan. She said that she was accused of black magic by Shekhar Suman and, in the Adhyan Suman case. Now she's turning the tables. And suddenly she is doing these counterattacks on women from her same profession. And for what? I don't think in any interview of Urmila has Urmila said that Kangana should not be given an election ticket. So why is this coming in? And, for a woman who has always portrayed very liberated roles, again, I'm punning, or rather I'm using this word within quotes, sexually liberated, kisi ki parwa nahi hai, I live life on my own terms. It's almost like Kangana is being a hypocrite to even the roles that she has essayed and the woman that she has made us believe she was. Somebody who has had a live-in with Aditya Pancholi, who was beaten up and then emerged victorious, who will not spare any stone. She's just going to, not be, the kept of a married man. She's going to come out and, talk about their relationship in public. So suddenly from this, where is the, just because Urmila said that, Himachal has a,
right.
The drugs are, the seed of the drug trade might be in Himachal. For that, does it qualify Kangana to call her a soft porn star? I am asking Kangana Ranaut, ma'am, there are a lot of women who are part of the porn industry. And let me tell you, according to Pornhub, I write on sexuality, women are one of the greatest consumers of pornography. There is nothing wrong in porn. Let's also put that there. But who is Kangana Ranaut to make these below the skirt comments and bring down every woman, just trivialize rape, just say whatever,
right. That's what I want to talk about. I want to bring in Talish Ray, because Talish Ray, at one end you have where, you call Taapsee Pannu a B-grade actor, you call Rhea Chakraborty a small-time druggie, Sonam Kapoor a mafia bimbo. Then you put out the worst of the analogy when you talk about, and that's where I want to now shift the focus to. You're talking about something like rape. You're actually equating and using the rape analogy by the tearing down of your office. You have every right to protest the, that the BMC tore down your office. You have every right to your politics. But to equate rape with that, would you think it's possibly a great disservice to many women who are survivors of rape today?
Absolutely. It's a possible disservice to everyone who's a rape survivor, not just women that are there. It also includes an entire spectrum of sexuality, by the way, and gender norms. So, when you given an analogy like a rape, when you use it in loose terms, then you've actually done what we call in feminism as a patriarchal bargain. And I think that's where one should look at in terms of when we see her evolution. And it's also very important at this point to understand that what is patriarchal bargain? This is bargain where women accommodate or uphold certain patriarchal norms when it suits them in order to be able to get what they want to achieve out of a patriarchal system. But having said that, I think there's a lot of critical work that's also being done about the fact that when they make these choices, are these really their choices in terms of the fact are they free choices? So when we look at the tweets that are there, and in no way am I condoning or going against the fact that she has absolutely no right as a human being to attack somebody else's dignity, no matter what the provocation. But at the same time, if we are to look at where you started off from, would she be termed as a sexist or would she be termed as a feminist? I think it's also important to then look at the fact that if we stand today and we were to look at the historical value of her work, then you also cannot take away the fact that in terms of the industry that she's a part of and the growth that she stands for, which is actually an antithesis of the patriarchal structure. So in that sense, she actually defines to me what I'd like to call as a patriarchal bargain, as was put by by one of the Turkish scholars a long time back about how women work around these norms in order to profit themselves. And in that sense, then they have no right in the public space, at least, to be able to claim a particular ideology. Because at the end of the day, feminism is something which is not just contentious, but it's also very simple at heart, that 50% of the human population is asking for the same rights as the other 50%. So in that, when we're looking at it, we also need to look at it theoretically as to how patriarchy works. And patriarchy typically likes to hedge one person who is non-patriarchal, a feminist. And I hold the fact that a feminist can be both a man or a woman or any gender, as for that matter, in the middle. In that norm, what patriarchy likes to do is to ensure that those that do not follow this philosophy are made to fight each other. And that's a classic thing when women that fall into the patriarchal bargain tend to do because of that. But as a feminist myself, would I want to judge her choices and put a tag to it? I think I'd wait and watch, because there is also the body of her work. So I'd leave the jury out at that one.
All right, okay, well put, Kalish. I want to bring in Ananya Shetty as well. You know, Ananya, at one end you talk about, which is Kangana here, of being raped when she entered Bollywood. She talks about being molested. You yourself are a survivor when you say with what you have gone through. And then to go ahead and use rape in the context of, you know, as trivial as the breaking down of a building. Would you agree?
See, being very honest, I would like to start with how, first of all, I am actually to an extent proud of Kangana for coming out in general on various issues, on big issues, and not only of the country or about women, I mean not only of Bollywood and women, but whatever big issues are going on in the country, she actually voices and, you know, has opinions and her own personal views. Whereas others, or, you know, public figures or a lot of other stars don't actually come out and talk about big issues or controversial issues or taboo, or things which are taboo, considered taboo in our country. She actually talks about that. So that is what I appreciate her for. But just because I support her on some things doesn't mean I agree on everything she says. And like the comments we are talking, the rape comment, firstly, that is of course really wrong. And it's not about her being a survivor, but because rape in its own meaning is really big and it's really sad, and a lot of people, especially in our country, who are rape victims, go through a lot, and their families as well. Okay. So using it in a simple sentence on a social media, I feel that is wrong. And just talking about Urmila and saying bad things about her, or even Taapsee, is completely wrong. But we also forget sometimes that a lot of people have said similar things to her in the past. Even when the Hrithik Roshan case came out, a lot of bad things were said about her. They called her a witch. They said she used to do black magic. They even, I'm sorry to say, but they even slut-shamed her. And where Aditya Chopra was concerned, even now people say that no, maybe she actually did this. Maybe she was the one who was the culprit. Maybe she was wrong. Or, you know, she lured him. So she also hears a lot of bad things. And just because...
Anana, you know, you made a very strong point, which I want to just take the debate further in. You've made a very strong point, and I want to bring in, you know, Sri Moyu, and I hope I've got your name right, Sri Moyu, is with what even Ananya is saying, there is a Kangana conundrum here, because here is someone who's represented everything which seemed to be feminist till now. And now she's turned around and she's using the kind of language which has thrown everybody apart.
Exactly the point I'm making, Preeti. No, my name is Sri Moyi.
Sri Moyi, anyway, all right. I'm sorry, my bad.
Yeah, yes. No worries, no worries. See, the point is that I feel that, you know, this is for me, you know, as an observer and commentator on popular culture, and, you know, as somebody who writes on women, I find this extremely interesting and complex, that a woman who is accused of being a witch, who is accused of doing jadoo tona and, you know, black magic and harpofying men and seducing married men and exploiting them, a woman who has been turned out of big production houses, you know, really, in a sense, slut-shamed. A woman like this should be more sensitive, because she has, you know, she has gone through this. So what is the analogy? That right now Kangana is in a position to slut-shame other women? And Preeti, how are we ever going to fulfill that hashtag smash patriarchy if we live up to what men have been saying about us for ages? Oh, women are women's worst enemies. Just look at it. two women can never be friends, right? The catfight is going to start at some point or the other. So, of course, I have a lot of respect for Kangana's body of work. Like Queen remains one of my favorite films. But having said that, even something like Simran, which was not a commercial success, again, mental hai kya, women and mental health, she's made very, very provocative, very bold choices in a misogynist industry. But having said that, today I am questioning Kangana's feminism, and I'm asking that, is it a sort of a, is she now a mouthpiece of patriarchy, like a gatekeeper of patriarchy, that she's going to trivialize rape, she's going to just drag any woman to the ground? Whoever doesn't agree with Kangana Ranaut is going to open up a can of worms.
I want to bring in Talish Ray. Talish, what do you, at this stage, there is a large set which says ignore Kangana. But for those who come from privilege, like possibly you and I, women who have the opportunity to talk for those who really don't, do you think it's really important to call this out?
Absolutely. I think it's important to call it out because it's time for her to reflect. It's a self-reflection that we called upon Ms. Ranaut, because at a particular point in time, while her body of work may be feminist and may have been groundbreaking, but it's also important that when she's on a public platform, it is important for her to stand up for those values, because you can't keep bargaining with patriarchy. Like I said, patriarchal bargain, one of the flip sides of patriarchal bargain is that patriarchy will turn on you. So at that point in time, that self-reflection is called upon, because the privilege that has been afforded to all of us means that then we go out and move with the other women and try and ensure that those that believe in the philosophy of equality, of feminism, are actually helped through the platforms of privilege that we have. So Ms. Ranaut does have that privilege. She has a whole bunch of followers. If she were to turn around and say something that would actually sort of resonate, not just within her work, but also in how she conducts herself, it would do her a lot more good in terms of resonating. So again, coming back to the fact, I think we were also referring to the fact that she has a choice. But at the same time, as a feminist, I would not like to judge her at this point in time, because having said, looking at the contradictory stands, there's a huge amount of dichotomy between her work and what she seems to represent on a social media platform and how she responds at a particular place.
Well, but you're right there. I want to just, before I end the show, Ananya, I want to just get you in for a quick 10-seconder. And my question is, do you still, because you said that you looked up to her, do you still, Ananya, think that Kangana is, I would say, a feminist icon for you? Yes or no? Or you're confused? Where do you stand there?
I don't have a yes or no answer, because just because I support her on something doesn't mean she is always right. And like ma'am said, I actually don't agree. And I mean, I actually agree that she should be really more sensitive, because if she's gone through that, she has to be really careful and sensitive, because
so
she's been in that place.
Okay, Ananya, I need to close the show.
I completely agree.
I'm sorry I'm coming in.
When she was...
My bad. I'm really sorry I'm coming in. I need to close the show. I appreciate you all three ladies for joining us. So there is a bit of a conflict that Kangana has created in everyone's mind who's actually followed her work, and I was actually following the trajectory more so of her tweets. You just have to go through it. Some of them are actually bizarre. Having said that, a quick wrap up. Next is my colleague Shiv. Hi everyone, Preeti Chaudhary here. Hope you like this video. For latest news and analysis, like and subscribe to the India Today YouTube channel. And don't forget to press the bell icon to stay updated. Thank you for watching.